commodities or the products which are sold through itinerant retailing may involve your newspapers, maybe your popcorns, ice creams, your vegetable vendors, and even weekly bazaars come within the purview of itinerant retailing. Talking of the fixed shop retailing is an altogether different picture from itinerant retailing, because in case of fixed shop retailing, consumers reach up to the retailers rather than the retailers reaching up to customers. Fixed shop retailing can be of two types. It can be maintained at a smaller scale or at a larger scale. So there can be four broad categories of small scale retail shops. We can either have a general store, a single line store, a specialty store, or a store for second hand goods. The general store contain or provide the products for daily use of the consumers. For example, the toiletries, biscuits, snacks, grocery, cosmetics or stationery items. When we talk of single line store, they do contain different iterations of the same product line. For example, a bookshop or a ready-made garment shop. Specialty store may contain variety of product lines, but all these product lines are coming from a specific brand. For example, a Woodland showroom or a Fab India showroom. Second hand goods shop, as the name itself suggests, contain or provide or sell products which are either used or are second hand. For example, certain books or furnitures. Now coming to the large scale retailers, the first we have is the departmental store, which is a shop where a large variety of goods are sold under a single roof. For example, Big Bazaar, Vishal Mega Mart, Ebony, Shoppers Stop, etc. are some of the examples of leading departmental store in our country. Now there are certain advantages and disadvantages of departmental store. For example, a departmental store saves the time of the consumer, also the efforts of the consumer. They carry a wide variety of goods under a single roof, and because of operations at large scale, they are capable of generating economies of scale, which eventually get transferred to the consumers in terms of discounts or lower prices. But in order to establish a departmental store, one has to put in huge capital investment, and they are also located far from the residential areas, unlike the retailers. They also have high operating costs and gets hugely crowded on weekends. Next large scale retailer we have is a multiple shop, which are retail stores having the same name, same decoration, and are dealing in the same type of products under a single brand name. For example, a McDonald's shop, a shop of Domino's, Raymond, Burger King, etc. These multiple shops are often built on similar guidelines to help the consumers to identify and recognize the shop very easily. They also provide cheaper products to the consumers because they eliminate the middleman from the chain of the distribution. They also provide standard quality products at uniform prices. But the downturn of such multiple shops is that they provide products only on cash basis. So you cannot just hop in these shops and buy products on credit. Then prices of the products are also fixed by the head office, which means that the individual shops do not have any control over the pricing of the products. Then the next large scale retailer is a supermarket, which is a retail store similar to a departmental store but sells a wide variety of products like your food items, vegetables, fruits, groceries, utensils, clothes, electronic items, etc. They also carry a wide range of goods and daily household products, wherein the chances of adulteration and duplication are either minimized or almost nil. Because of the large scale of operations, they also enjoy the economies of large scale, which eventually gets transferred to the ultimate consumers. But again, in order to establish a supermarket, you have to put in huge investments, and the transactions can take place only on cash basis. Also, the supermarket offers you a principle of self-service, which means as soon as you enter a supermarket, you have to carry a cart along with you. You have to put in the products into the cart, and you have to keep on carrying that cart until the billing is done. Then next we have is a consumer cooperative store, which is a cooperative body created by the consumers in order to eliminate the retailers or the wholesalers from the chain of distribution. By creating a consumer cooperative store, consumers eventually purchase or get the products at a reduced price, though the consumer cooperative stores do not intend to earn any profit. However, if any profit is earned, the profit is distributed amongst the consumers only. But consumer cooperative stores suffer from limited funds and lack of personal management. Next we have is a mail order retailing, which is a system of retailing based on mail system to communicate and to deliver goods to the customers. Customers on seeing the advertisement on some brochure may reach up to the stores through a mail or a post, and on the receipt of the mail or the post, goods may be delivered to the ultimate consumers. By indulging into a system of mail order retailing, the consumers may save up the cost and efforts. Also, the retailer saves the cost of setting up a physical store. But the problem with the mail order retailing sometimes is that the delivered products may vary from the description which was shown in the advertisement. Also, such mail order retailing, because of lag in the placing of the order and the eventual delivery of the goods, may not be suitable for the perishable products. Another example of a large scale retailer is a franchise agreement, which is an authorization by one party to the other party to produce and or sell the specified goods and services. There are two parties involved in a franchise agreement, a franchisor and a franchisee. The person who grants the license to manufacture or sell the commodities is known a franchisor, and the person to whom the license is granted is known as a franchisee. With the help of a franchise agreement, the franchisor can expand his business without investing additional capital, because eventually the focus is shifted to the franchisee, and now the franchisee will expand the business of the franchisor. Also, the consumers get the assurance of standardized goods and services, but the downturn of a franchise agreement is that the performance of the franchisee also hit the brand image of the franchisor if the franchisee compromises with the quality of the products or the services. Also, the franchise may become a burden for the franchisee if it is incapable of generating adequate profits. Then next we have recent trends in distribution. There are three major trends in the distribution, which is direct marketing, internet marketing and telemarketing. Direct marketing is an attempt by the manufacturer to bypass all the middlemen from the chain of distribution, and because the middlemen are removed from the chain of distribution, the delivery becomes faster and the profit margins which otherwise was to be taken up by the retailers and the wholesalers can be transferred to the ultimate consumers in terms of low priced products. Internet marketing is nothing but an iteration of the direct marketing, available 24/7. It is quick and convenient, and again, because the middlemen are removed from the chain of distribution, the products are provided to the ultimate consumers at lower prices and with better discounts. Then we have the system of telemarketing or telephone marketing, which is used to persuade the customers to buy usually products which are not otherwise purchased by them. For example, an insurance policy, a credit card or a loan. Telemarketing can be impacted through calling or even through a system of short messaging services. Then we have the documents which we used in internal trade. We have performa invoice and invoice, which are altogether similar to each other, with the only difference that a performa invoice is sent to the consumer prior to the actual sale, containing the estimate of the purchase price. On the other hand, invoice is sent to a consumer after the actual sale is impacted. Then we have two notes which are used in internal trade, known as debit note and credit note. Both the notes can be written by either of the parties. A person who receives a debit note certifies that his account is to be debited or has already been debited, and a person receiving a credit note is a person who is intimated that his account has been credited. Then we have a lorry receipt, which is issued by a transport company provided goods are sent through a transport company. This lorry receipt contains the details of the transporter, the details of the sender and the details of the receiver. Lastly, we have terms of trade as COD, which stands for cash on delivery, wherein the goods are delivered by the manufacturer to the ultimate consumer, and on delivery the customer pays for the products. Free on board is a facility wherein all the costs will be borne by the manufacturer or the supplier until the goods reaches to a board. CIF, or more popularly known as cost, insurance and freight, is an extension of free on board with the inclusion of insurance and freight to the cost. Then we have E and OE, which stands for errors and omissions expected. because no one can rule out clerical errors. So usually at the bottom of the document, we insert E and OE, which stands for the possibility of any clerical error. And before we wind the presentation up, a quick recap of what we have discussed so far in this lecture. We started with the meaning of internal trade. We understood the classification of internal trade in terms of wholesale trade and retail trade. We also discussed various services provided by the wholesalers and the retailers. Then we discussed the types of retail trade in terms of itinerant retail and the fixed shop retail. We also talked about the recent trends of marketing in terms of direct marketing, internet marketing and telemarketing. Lastly, we discussed the documents used in internal trade, for example, the invoices, the pro forma invoice, the final invoice, debit note, credit note, terms of trade, etc. And with this, the lecture is concluded. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all a very happy learning.